Imagine living a completely normal day, scrolling your phone, sipping tea, laughing at something small, completely unaware that in just a few minutes, everything could have ended. Not just your life, but all life. No warnings, no breaking news, no chaos in the streets, just silence. Because while the world was busy being normal, somewhere in a hidden room, a decision was being made, a decision that would determine whether humanity survives or disappears forever. And the most terrifying part? This actually happened. Not in a movie, not in some fictional story, but in real life. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the exact mistake that almost erased humanity, the unknown man who stopped it at the last possible second, and why the same danger still exists right now, closer than you think. It was an ordinary day, the kind of day you wouldn't remember. People were heading to work, stuck in traffic, thinking about deadlines. Kids were sitting in classrooms, half paying attention, waiting for the bell to ring. Families were planning dinners, friends were making jokes, life was moving forward exactly the way it always does, calm, predictable, safe. There was no sense of danger in the air, no feeling that something was wrong. But far away from all of this, behind locked doors, deep inside a highly secure military control room, something went terribly wrong. Without warning, alarms exploded into life. Loud, sharp, unforgiving. The kind of sound that instantly drains the color from your face. Screens lit up all at once, flashing the same terrifying message again and again, missile incoming. At first, it didn't feel real. It couldn't be. But the system was precise. It showed trajectories, launch points, estimated impact times. This wasn't just one missile, it was multiple nuclear warheads, detected and confirmed by the most advanced early warning system of its time. According to everything they knew, this was the beginning of a nuclear attack. In that moment, a small group of people inside that room were handed a level of power almost impossible to imagine. The power to respond, the power to retaliate, the power to decide whether the world would continue or burn. Protocol was clear, strict, and immediate. If an incoming attack is detected, you don't wait, you don't question, you respond with full force, because hesitation could mean total destruction. A delay of even a few minutes could cost millions of lives. So the system demanded action. Fast, decisive, irreversible action. Now pause for a second and really think about this. Imagine you are sitting in that chair. In front of you, screens are telling you that nuclear missiles are on the way. Around you, trained professionals are urging you to act. The protocol is screaming in your mind, launch immediately. If you do nothing and the attack is real, your country is destroyed. If you act and the system is wrong, you start a war that ends the world. There is no safe choice. There is no time to think, just seconds ticking away. Inside that room, the pressure became suffocating. Every second stretched longer than it should. Every sound felt louder. Every breath felt heavier. Voices overlapped. We have to respond. We don't have time. Follow the protocol. The logic was simple and brutal. If the system says it's real, you act. That's how it was designed. That's how everyone was trained. And yet, in the middle of all that noise, there was one man who wasn't fully convinced. Something didn't feel right to him. He couldn't explain it. The data looked convincing. The system had never been wrong before. Everything pointed toward a real attack. But deep down, there was a quiet doubt, a small voice asking a dangerous question. What if this is a mistake? He looked at the information again, then again, trying to find something, anything, that didn't add up, but there was no clear evidence, no confirmation either way, just uncertainty. And then came the moment that would define everything. He had to choose. Follow the system, press the button, and trigger a response that would unleash hundreds of nuclear missiles across the planet, or trust his instinct, ignore the protocol, and risk being completely wrong. If he hesitated and the attack was real, millions would die without defense. He would be responsible. But if he acted and the system was wrong, he would be the one who ended civilization. There was no way out of this decision, no backup plan, no second opinion. Just him, and a choice that would echo through history, if there was any history left to echo through. So he made a decision that no one expected. He didn't press the button, he reported it as a possible false alarm. And then he waited. Those next moments were unbearable. Time slowed down in a way that feels almost unreal. Every passing second carried the weight of the world. Everyone in that room knew what was at stake. If missiles were truly incoming, there would be visible confirmation soon. Explosions, impacts, signals disappearing. The end would arrive quickly, there would be no doubt. So they watched, and they waited, trapped between hope and terror. Seconds turned into a minute. Then another. Nothing happened. No explosions, no impact, no destruction. Because there were no missiles, the system was wrong. What had looked like a coordinated nuclear attack was actually a technical glitch. A rare, almost unbelievable error caused by a combination of factors no one had predicted. The most advanced warning system failed. And for a few terrifying minutes, the world stood on the edge of destruction without even knowing it. Let that sink in. The world didn't survive because the system worked perfectly. It survived because one human being chose to doubt it, one decision, one moment of hesitation, one refusal to blindly follow orders. That's all it took to stop the end of everything. But here's something even more unsettling. This wasn't the only time something like this happened. There have been other incidents, other false alarms. Other moments where systems reported threats that didn't exist. Each time, the margin for error was almost zero. Each time, the outcome depended on the judgment of a few individuals sitting in rooms just like that one. Not machines, not automated systems, humans. And every time, it was close, closer than most people could ever imagine. What makes this even more dangerous is that the systems themselves haven't disappeared. They've become more advanced, more complex, more powerful. But complexity doesn't remove risk. Sometimes it increases it. More data, more automation, more reliance on technology, all of it creates new ways for things to go wrong. And when the stakes are this high, even a small mistake can have irreversible consequences. Right now, as you're watching this, those systems still exist. Nuclear weapons are still active. Early warning systems are still running. Protocols are still in place, waiting to be followed. Somewhere in the world, there are people trained to make that same decision, under that same pressure, within that same limited time. The only difference is, next time, the person in that chair might not hesitate. They might trust the system completely. They might follow the protocol without question. They might press the button. And if that happens, there may not be anyone left to realize what went wrong. The strangest, almost unbelievable part of this entire story is what happened to the man who made that decision. You would expect him to be recognized everywhere, celebrated, honored, remembered as the person who saved the world. But that's not what happened. His story remained largely unknown. No global headlines, no massive recognition, just silence, as if the world quietly moved on, unaware of how close it had come to ending. And maybe that's the most chilling part of all, because it means that something this massive, something this close to total destruction can happen without most people ever knowing. Life continues. Days pass, people laugh, work, sleep, completely unaware of how fragile everything really is. So now you know. You know that there was a day when the world almost ended, and almost no one knew about it. You know that it wasn't stopped by a perfect system, but by an imperfect human decision. And you know that the same conditions still exist today, waiting, silent in the background. This isn't just a story about the past. It's a warning about the present. Because somewhere, right now, there is still a system watching the skies. There is still a protocol ready to be executed. There is still a button waiting to be pressed. And one day, someone might not hesitate.